College football playoff just reminded us why this sport is so beautiful. It's brutal and completely unforgiving. Georgia's out. Alabama got embarrassed. Ohio State ran into a wall, and Indiana looks like the most dangerous team in America. So let's talk about what actually happened. This is the Nitro College Football Show. I'm Burl.
I'm straight.
Like, subscribe, comment below if you love college football. So, Georgia, did you win your college football game?
You blew it.
They did blow it.
Yeah,
Blew it big time.
they absolutely did.
But you got to give credit where credit is due. Ole Miss played a hell of a game, and Chambliss had just the game of his life, which he needed to do.
In a game of back and forth, momentum swings, the one thing that was true the whole game was Chambliss was playing amazing. And so as we talk about this game, we're going to talk about some reasons why Georgia lost the game. But let me state for the record that the things we're going to talk about are not excuses. They are factors that contributed to this loss. That doesn't detract that Ole Miss played a fantastic ball game, especially in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was an amazing game. Like if you're not a fan of either of these two teams, you had to enjoy watching what you were seeing. And because it was super competitive, it was pretty back and forth, especially there at the end, and just some weird stuff at the end too with the weirdest safety,
the weirdest actual end to a football game maybe ever. Let's put a second. Let's bring out this stage. No, take it off. Let's run another play. Take it off again. Like, oh, what a mess! What a mess the end was.
It was. But yeah, a lot of back and forth, and like I said this on the post game show. Gunner, he had some great moments, and then he had some head scratching moments, and it's frustrating as a Georgia fan watching that because dude's got the talent. He can make all the throws. He's shown it time and time again. He showed it in this game. Yeah, especially on that on the last drive, he was killing it. When he finally, had to have that stick of dynamite up his butt, he started throwing darts, and many times throughout the game. Granted, he was under pressure, but still, he just held on to the ball too long. Like he was just timid, scared to throw it downfield, and
it just seemed like a confidence thing with him in this game, and it's kind of been that way the last few games. But when his back was against the wall, he chucked that out the window and went for it and started playing great there in the fourth quarter. Everybody's probably seen the video at this point after he took a couple of those crazy shots early in the game. He might have been a little woozy there. He lined up not under center one time, and Nate Frazier had to run up and fix him. So I don't know if that contributed to it, but
John Elway did that too.
True. It's just he took, especially that the one shot that he took, which was an amazing play that he threw the ball out. Like that was a hell of a hit. I mean, that made almost the one that he took against Texas last year. Like that might have been harder than that one because it was full body. He was in the air. He takes those shots, and that's part of his game. But
yeah, that hit was frustrating. And really, it was only frustrating because the next drive, Georgia gets called for a targeting penalty, which was completely suspect.
Yeah.
When you compare that to the hit that Gunner took, it's like, what are we doing here?
Right. And it was clearly a case where he lowered his shoulder and the guy turned at the last minute, so the shoulder kind of hit the head area. But if he wouldn't have turned the last minute, it would just been a clean shoulder to the chest. And it was, it's a weird situation. I guess they mostly called it because he kind of left his feet, the whole launching thing. I mean, is probably the justification for it. It ended up not costing Georgia on that drive because Ole Miss did stupid stuff at the end of the first half, but Georgia depleted.
It cost us in the game.
Right. We were already depleted at the secondary position with Aguero out, and it was just another guy down. we went into this game with multiple starters already out on defense. CJ Allen got nicked up early in the game, and he was not the same. He had the worst game of his career probably at Georgia. Um,
Yeah, wasn't his grade for the game from Pro Football Focus like the worst?
yeah, I was gonna talk about that later. Yeah, he was the lowest
Okay,
graded defender on the Georgia defense from a PFF grade. I think it was like 41, which is
that's
like
unheard of for him.
which is really, really bad. And it didn't
Yeah,
help that, he's one of the top guys. I think he played the most snaps on the team out there. I don't know if it looked like he got his clock, rocked pretty good. So he might have had a little bit of a concussion too. He just didn't look the
yeah.
same.
Well,
Um,
there was that one pass play near the end where he was just coming full speed
yeah,
up the middle and ran into a brick wall.
yeah. Well, I mean, and Raylan Wilson, had to leave the game for a while and come back in. You're already missing Gabe Harris and Jordan Hall up front. And then you're missing Aguero in the secondary. So Georgia was really beat up, and I know that's not an excuse, and I'll talk a little bit, but it just contributed. So, but
Yeah, so
but we're talking about
there,
bad things in this game, but I think we should really first, before, focus on some of the good performances from both of these teams. Because this game,
yes,
as you said, it was a fun game to watch because you had some players playing absolutely out of their minds. Starts at the top with Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, he's been a good player since he took that starting job all year long. Wasn't even the start at the beginning of the year. Finished right behind Gunner, eighth, I think, in the Heisman voting. But man, he had one of those nights where you're a quarterback and that quarterback gets on a heater. Holy crap, he was on a heater. Like there was nothing he could do wrong. There were some plays where Georgia had him dead to rights and he scampered around. It was like 3 plays in a row there in that second half
yeah, it
in
was the
particular.
last drive.
Yeah. Well, not the last drive. That was before that. It was their last long touchdown drive. But yeah, on the last drive, obviously that last throw was insane too, that set up the field goal. But he just played out of his mind. Like,
He did, and hats off to him. What a great story that is, and he's really fun to watch. Like if I'm an Ole Miss fan and I'm watching this game, like that is you got to love that. I
yeah,
mean, I'm watching it thinking, Falcons might draft a quarterback again.
yeah. I mean, as a Georgia fan, that game, watching him play, it was just like watching CJ Stroud a couple years ago. Like there was
Yes.
nothing we could do. He kept rolling out. It looked like he was just throwing it up and the guy would catch it. Like, I mean,
Well,
hell, that,
and nobody could tackle him.
yeah,
Like
and
he was
yeah,
dead to rights so many times, but he
yeah.
still escaped.
It was so reminiscent of that CJ Stroud game. Just an unbelievable effort from that guy at quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome game by Chambliss. You think he's gonna think he'll win that sixth year
Well, he
suit he's
already
got
lost
going?
it once. They tried it with the JUCO thing, and he already lost that one, but they're going to
So
try
now it's
again
medical.
with a medical red shirt. So they're trying again to get him a 6th year. Um, I don't I don't think he's going to win it, honestly, but stranger things have happened. We're in stranger things time. So you never know. Simmons is already out the door, but I'm sure that if he does leave, they'll just go buy themselves up another quarterback like they seem to do every year.
Yeah. Well, at least the deliberation might be longer than the Vecna battle.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess Simmons is in the portal, but he's staying with them through the playoffs. So hell, maybe if Chambliss, doesn't win his case, maybe they convince him to come back. He's not totally gone yet. So, um,
Unless he goes to LSU.
yeah. So a couple other guys want to point out in this game, Lucas Carnario, however you say his Carnario, their kicker. I mean, my God, 55 yard, 55 yarder early in the game to set the Sugar Bowl record. Then the
Drilled it.
next time they had the ball, 56 yarder to break his own record. And then he drills that game winner that would have been good from probably 60. I mean, all 3 of those kicks, they were not just he barely made them. Like they were humming and he kicked them straight. That guy didn't win the Grozo Award? Like, what the heck, man? He was absolutely clutch for them. And then on the defensive side of the ball for Ole Miss, you have to give a shout out to Will Eccles. This was a guy that during the week was kind of talking some trash, saying we thought, we were a better team than Georgia the first time we played them. That guy backed it up, man. I know. I
Yeah, he
remember
did.
he had two passes that he batted down at the line. One he damn near intercepted, and he was shedding blocks. There was a couple plays where he broke off one defender and I can't remember what it was, but Gunner ran it kind of a draw, and if that guy doesn't shed his blocker, Gunner goes for like 25, easy. He
Yeah.
was just a beast. He was throwing people around. Absolutely stunning game. 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass breakups. You can't ask for more than that out of a defensive tackle.
Yeah, yeah. The Ole Miss defense is quite the enigma because they give up points, but they made the stops when they needed to.
Yeah. Well, it was real weird because Georgia in the first half was moving the ball, rushing the ball, and they came out in the second half and Ole Miss shut them down. I mean, Frazier had like 60 yards or something at half and ended up with like
Yeah.
75. And I did want to point out Nate Frazier, who was running really hard in this game. From what I understand, it's an ankle injury and they're going to do an MRI. It doesn't sound like it's anything that we're going to be worried about for next year. Thank God it's not a knee. But he had a hell of a game. He caught a couple passes too. So great effort from Nate Frazier. And then you gotta talk about Zachariah Branch in what could be his last game, making some big plays out there, catching that touchdown.
Come back. Please come
Please.
back.
Set the Georgia record for career receptions, ended up with 81 receptions on the season, which is a ton for a Georgia receiver. Obviously, it's the record.
Hey,
Unheard of.
next year, come back and get 100.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to. I think he's going pro, but a hell of a one season
Hey,
stop.
there is a chance he could get more money in college
Oh,
than going
absolutely.
pro.
I mean, if Cam Coleman's going to get what they're saying, 3-4 million at least,
Yeah,
for sure. Because especially Branch, I don't think he probably won't be a first round pick. He'll probably be a second round guy for sure. He can make more
maybe.
money in college.
Yeah. Yeah, you just think about Will Levis, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah. And then the other great performance I wanted to point out was, and I called this, Kewan Lacey had an amazing game for Ole Miss, but that shoulder injury showed on that fumble. And I just had a feeling that something like that was going to happen. I called it on the preview show that at some point he's going to do something and somebody's going to hit him around that shoulder and he's going to fumble the ball. And he did. And he made up for it because he had a great game otherwise, but that was a great play by Georgia to hit him high. And of course, your boy Dalen Everett picking it up, running it back for a touchdown.
big game, Dalen.
Big game, Dalen. So, like I
Yeah,
said, in a game that there's a lot to point to that was wrong, there were some really right things for both teams that happened.
that fumble for a score, man. I probably along with all Georgia, Dog Nation, we thought that was going to be it.
Right.
Like,
Because all Ole Miss had done at that point, all they had really done at that point was kind of move the ball and kick field goals. We had bowed up after they got yardage.
We were just holding them to field goals.
And
it was
those field
awesome.
goals were 50 pluses. It wasn't like they got to around midfield and we bowed up. So you were feeling pretty good right up there by 9. I think this is only the 5th time Kirby's lost a game at Georgia when he had a lead at halftime.
Yeah. Yeah. But then the second half happened.
Yeah.
And we were in bizarro world where Georgia, the quintessential second half team, fourth quarter team, did the opposite of what they did all year long.
Right. Yep. They were not a fourth quarter team that locked down on defense. They did kind of lock it down in the fourth quarter. They got hot in the fourth quarter, passing the ball and moving the ball again after they got down. After they got down by 2 scores, but
yeah, the last couple drives, honestly, that's when Gunner looked his best.
Yeah,
throwing the ball. He ran the ball really well the rest of the game, but his throwing downfield was not
that layered throw to Branch on 3rd or 4th down, whatever it was.
That was beautiful.
That might have been the best throw I've ever seen Gunner make, even better than the touchdown to Humphreys early in the year against Tennessee.
And that's a really, really hard throw to make.
Really hard. Like that's an NFL level throw to layer it between a linebacker and the safety and the corner. Like,
yeah,
that was a hell of a throw.
So that's why I'm like, it's so frustrating to see him just sit back there and hold it and not pull the trigger. And then he turns around and makes that type of throw. It's like, dude, you got it. Let it rip, man. You
Yeah.
can do it.
So ultimately, like I said, Georgia comes up short in this game. And so when I went back and I really thought about this game, I kind of put together a list of why Georgia lost this game. And so I think what we're going to do here is going to present the 10 reasons that the Georgia Bulldogs lost to Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl. You ready?
Yes, let's do this.
All
Number
right.
10.
All right. And once again, these are reasons for the loss. These are not excuses. So somebody's going to see this and say, "Oh, you're making excuses." No, these are things that happened. But these are all things
Yes.
that contributed.
These are things that happened.
Yes.
They are factual things that happened in the in the past.
Right. So number 10.
Not a different timeline.
Yes, this is not the multiverse. So number 10 was the layoff. And I know people want to downplay the layoff, but 7 of 8 teams that have had this playoff bye have lost now. And the layoff, I say the layoff in terms of, yes, they had time off, but the layoff was impactful because Georgia looked like a different team in this game, even on defense.
They did.
The
I mean, just like I was saying just a minute ago, the quintessential second half team, fourth quarter team, that was not Georgia.
But even in the
game.
first half, they weren't tackling very well, and they just didn't look like they had the second half of the season. They looked more like that first half of the season team. And
yes,
and you have to say that, the layoff, it looked like it impacted Ohio State, and it looked like it impacted Texas Tech. And yes, Indiana won their game, but man, they played an Alabama team that was clearly flawed, and Indiana's really freaking good if you haven't noticed. So at some point, it may be time to take a look at this whole layoff thing. We talked about it in our show last week, where how we would fix the playoff schedule and have it start immediately after the season. The reason that I say that the layoff impacted Georgia here, and you could say, well, Ole Miss had a couple of weeks off. They didn't play in the championship game. They had a couple of weeks off. Yeah, but then they had a game last week, and that game was against
a cupcake,
and they got everything right. All the distractions that they had out of the season with Kiffin leaving and all that. They'd hired their coach, and they got to play a game with him, and they got everything right, and they played an overmatched team, and they got it out of their system. It's like having a cupcake game to start your season. They got all the glitches and everything out of the way, and they were oiled and ready to go. Georgia, meanwhile, yes, got a little bit healthier, but in that month's time, all these things that they kind of figured out throughout the season, well, that kind of hurt them. They had some injuries that came up too. So, and then that we'll get into that in a minute. But, I think at some point they're going to have to look at that and say, if it happened last year, okay, I get it, because 2 of the teams were, lower level, not high level conference championship teams that were in that first round. They shouldn't have been having buys anyway, and they lost, and Georgia lost its quarterback. So last year, 3 of those 4 teams lost, and then the other one lost to the eventual national champion. But this year, you had conference champions and Ohio State, who was number 1 all year, and they lost. So maybe there's something to it. Once again, not an excuse.
Yeah, and I was very hardcore on the side of, okay, the buy shouldn't matter, but data will change your perspective, right? Only one team that has been in that position has won, and that's Indiana. Nobody else has, even though Georgia has been in this position before and should have been prepared. When you don't play for that long, bound to get a little rusty.
Yep.
And that showed big time.
Yep.
Because like you said, Ole Miss got to play a cupcake, technically.
And they got everything right. They got any issues they were having at the end of the year right. They scored points. They felt good about themselves. Quarterback was hot. All those things. And all the distractions that people were talking about with Kiffin being gone, well, they'd already dealt with that the week before. They already had a game with the coach. They had their staff in place,
And like I've been saying since they announced the 12-team playoff, you want to finish third in your conference.
Right. You really do.
You want to finish third. Stay out of the championship game. Avoid any more injuries. get healthy, play that first round, you get it on campus.
Yeah, that's the other thing. They got a playoff game at home in front of their fans where they got lucked up in all this confidence and love. And you got a big win too. Remember, wins are
Yeah.
momentums. Georgia hadn't played in a month. You just had a big win, a playoff win, but a big win first in your program's history last week. So, of course, that's going to give you confidence too.
And it's insane that the conference champions who earn the bye don't get a home game.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's makes no sense
Yeah.
whatsoever. Like, what's your reward? Okay, you get to sit out for a few weeks.
Yeah.
That's not a reward.
Yep. All right. Do you want to go back and forth on these? Or you want me to continue to call them out?
Let's go back and forth.
Okay.
Number 9, injuries.
Once again, not an excuse, just a fact. Georgia was
Yep,
missing like 4 starters on defense plus Drew Bobo. And, you know, the when we already have Jordan Hall out on the line, losing Gabe Harris was probably about the worst position on defense we could have lost somebody.
Honestly, that was the biggest impact on the game. Because even with Bobo being out, yeah, you know, the 4th down play, which we'll talk about a little later, Tolliver's been playing pretty well, and he didn't play terrible in this game. He played good enough to win. But when you don't have Gabe Harris, who is basically the catalyst for your pass rush, that's why Chambliss was able to be so effective.
Right. He was able to, you know, break contain, and it was also part of the reason that Lacey was able to get going. And then, like I said, it was injuries before the game, but it was also injuries in the game. CJ Allen got his clock cleaned out, and he was not the same. We talked Raylan Wilson got hurt and had to leave for a while. Obviously, on the offensive side of the ball, Bowens played, but he didn't look the same, and he's been banged up, so I don't know what degree he wasn't, but you saw McCray get carries instead of Bowens. And then obviously Nate was running great on that last drive, and then he gets hurt. And I gotta feel like if Nate Frazier is in the game, we give it to him 3 straight times.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Yeah. Because we'd been pushing him around up front.
And Nate was running good. He on that drive that he got hurt on, the play he got hurt on was like a good long run that he just got bent backwards on. It was he was running good. He was feeling good down the stretch there.
Well, damn it, when they were down to the goal line, that's when they should have ran McCray.
right. Well,
that's what he's good at.
And we'll get to that too. That's a coaching decision. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But injuries definitely played a big factor.
Yeah. And, you know, then you had KJ Bolden come out for a little bit because he made that huge hit where he didn't wrap up.
Right.
If he did wrap up, if he was able to wrap up on that play, it would have been a stop for Georgia.
Georgia might have won the game, honestly. Because that was the crazy play that we ran Chambliss back to like the 2-yard line. Like,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, when he hit him, I was all like, yeah. And then I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Not only did he get the first down, but now our best secondary guys hurt.
Yeah. All right. So, number 8 on this list, Peyton Woodring is human, and he missed a field goal.
How dare he?
He'd only missed 1 field goal all year long. He'd made a field goal of 55 yards outside earlier in the season. And like we said, it was a good kick. It just fell a yard or 2 short.
He had his Gary Anderson moment.
Yeah, completely. And it sucks. And this is not pointing the fingers at him because I think on that play, we ended up taking a sack or a loss on a play that ended up backing it up. It should have been a closer field goal, but in a game where their kicker was like so destructive in kicking the ball and perfect, just that one little missed kick ends up being the difference in the game. And it sucks because of that. But like I said, that is a reason that we lost the game.
Yeah, and just so uncharacteristic of Peyton Woodring because he's been so consistent and really good beyond 50.
Yep.
You know, really good beyond 50. And when he hit it dead on, it just came up short.
I thought he made it at first. because I looked at it and it went, it went right there, but then they when they showed the side, it just fell right in front. So, like I said, not on him, but it is a contributing factor to why Georgia lost.
Indeed, indeed. All right, number 7. This is a big one.
This is a big one,
Gunner's inability to throw the ball downfield. We saw this a lot
and
up
it's
until
got
the last few drives.
and it's gotten even worse over the last few days. Like watching some of the people online break down plays, there were guys open. Colby
There were so
Young,
many guys open. Oh my gosh!
Colby
I'm
Young,
watching the game
but watching it
so
like
many times.
on the all 22 view, like people have been breaking it down. I mean, Colby Young was open multiple times. Hell, even the last incompletion that we threw in the end zone, Branch had broken open.
I know
If
he
he'd
was
have
wide
thrown it,
open.
it was right there. Uh, I I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it was Gunner's because he's kind of been in the shell, and I know that Rodney DeBulsi has mentioned Gunner's been dealing with lots of injuries the second half of the season, and I don't know if that just after that Texas game, and
Hadn't been right.
even in the Texas game, the play calling really wasn't downfield. He just hasn't been right, and he hasn't been quick to pull the trigger. And I don't know if it was that bad interception that he threw in the Texas game that kind of spooked him, but it just
Oh
hasn't
yeah,
been the
right at
same.
halftime.
Yeah, it just he hasn't been the same. And when his back
Oh
was
no,
against
no,
the
that
line
wasn't
there at the
halftime.
end, he started doing it, but just something hasn't been right. And if he's going to continue to grow up next year, he can't go into these shells where he looks it off. I think the biggest telling sign was that they had the quarterback pressures and sack numbers in the game. The Georgia offensive line was credited with like 4 pressures. Gunner was credited with 9 pressures, i.e., plays where he held the ball too long and let them get to him when he had wide open receivers. That's crazy.
So, see, Georgia fans, I know you think I've been so critical of them, but I'm just telling you what my eyes see. And now everybody's finally seeing it. And Gunner knows this.
Yep.
I mean, they watch film, they watch a lot more than we do. So this is not any breaking news for him. And we're not talking shit about Gunner. We're just pointing out like this is the thing that he has to correct,
Yep.
which hopefully he does and comes out next year, wins a Heisman.
Yep. All right. So number 6, and this one's interesting. I wrote complete lack of a pass rush, but that's not entirely accurate. Georgia did have some pressure. It was really the lack of the pass rush to get home. No sacks
Yeah.
in this game, just like in the first time that we played Ole Miss, no sacks. Yes, Chambliss was a god, but sometimes when you're chasing him and you're chasing him back there, you got to get home. You got to make those plays. And then in a couple situations, there wasn't pressure at all, and Chambliss was able to sit back there, and his guys got open all year
Yeah. I
long.
mean, somebody has to get back there. I mean, even if it for nothing else than morale.
Right, right. Just get a sack. So all year long, early in the year, that was the problem. Georgia was not getting sacks, and then the second half of the year, we were averaging about 2 sacks a game and getting good pressure.
Yeah.
Kind
And you
of
saw
felt
number 0 back there every play.
Gabe Harris not being there hurt. That's for sure. You didn't see Elo Mendoza making any plays, and he was out there. Um, Xavier Griffin had a
Yeah.
good game, but just or Elijah Griffin, not Xavier Griffin.
Elijah Griffin.
Elijah Griffin.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. He had a good game, but we just couldn't get home to Chambliss, and that cost us.
Did Zay Walker play at all?
No, I don't think he played at all, and I don't know why, because he'd been playing a bunch too.
Yeah, because he had to be hurt or something.
I don't know. Somebody said that like I don't even see him out there, and I don't know
Because
why.
that dude can rush the passer. Like we've
Right.
seen it.
Right. Yeah. It was a quiet game for the linebackers overall. Like we already talked about CJ Allen having a bad game.
Yeah.
You didn't see much out of Chris Cole. So
Yeah, it was there was a lot of bad tackling in this game. I mean, obviously both teams scored 30 plus.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly defenses lighting it up. But for the first half, Georgia's defense wasn't playing bad. They were only giving up field goals.
Yep.
And can't ask for more than that. I mean, if you're only giving up field goals and you're scoring touchdowns, you ought to win.
Yep.
All right. Number 5, the no punt from your own 30.
Man, this was the biggest cluster moment that I've ever see happen in a college football game because Kirby talked about it after the game. Tolliver was not supposed to snap the football.
This play made me physically mad.
First off, we ran out there with the whole, run the punt team on and then run them off.
Yeah, the
Okay.
old Notre Dame thing.
Yeah, which has worked. But if you weren't going to do that, okay. But then you get out there and then you were just trying to draw them off sides or you were going to take the penalty. And you've got a freshman in there who has not been your starter all year and he snaps the ball. But even after he snapped the dang ball, then Gunner held it. There were actually guys open. He just didn't throw the dang ball. So even though the play was totally screwed up, the guys still ran their routes. And the quarterback, because he wasn't supposed to actually get the ball, he just went like deer in
He got the
headlights
ball
and
and was
got
like,
sacked.
oh, shit.
Yeah. Like it was just monumentally horrible. And of course, Ole Miss gets a touchdown right after that. Totally had swung the momentum. Ole Miss had already taken the lead at that point. I I don't know. I liked it when Kirby did the whole team out there in the past. I liked the decision to go for the fake punt earlier because they needed it. But sometimes you overthink things. And I think running that out there, a play that was weird with the freshman center, it bit you in the ass.
Yeah. Man, that fake punt, that should have been a touchdown.
It was still a good throw. I mean, it was
No, it was a good throw.
It's Cole Spear
But
throwing the pass. It's not like you got a
it,
quarterback out there.
no, I know, but he had London Humphreys like wide open down the sideline with nobody in front of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was still a great play. I mean, it really was.
Yeah. All right. Number 4, blown coverages by the linebackers, by the guys in coverage, especially on that final third down.
Yeah, yeah. The whole second half, it was painful to watch Georgia's defense play because not only were they not getting home on Chambliss, even though they were in the backfield, like I'm interested to know what the havoc rate was on for them this game because they were in the backfield all night.
Yeah.
Just could not, seal the deal on there. I mean, Quintavious Johnson had a couple batted passes, which was awesome.
Yeah. It's mainly the blown coverage on that final drive. It's a 3rd and 6 and they snapped the ball. And when Chambliss threw it, I was like, oh, he everybody's covered. He's just trying to throw it out of bounds or something. And you look down the field and Jamelo Jones is 10 yards behind the receiver. And there's no safety or anybody. Like, I don't know where was the safety? There was just nobody out there.
You know what it reminded me of? The Arian Smith play against Ohio State in the Peach Bowl.
Except that guy fell down. Like, Jamelo Jones didn't fall down. He just got burned and there was nobody.
Beat.
Yeah.
Which is completely uncharacteristic for him.
Right. And it was all game too. There were a couple other plays, like even Ellis Robinson got burned once pretty bad. Now he made a good play in the game too, but it was just blown coverages in the secondary. The secondary made more mistakes than they had. Like I said, all the defense made more mistakes. And even after that, after the long completion, the first down pass, when Ole Miss didn't have any timeouts left, they threw that pass on first down, the only one that was inbounds because the other two, Chambliss basically just clocked it and threw it out of bounds. Dalen Everett Dovin should have picked the pass off.
He had it in his hands.
And he dropped it. And of course, he stands up and does the belt thing or whatever. I'm like, dude, we're going to lose the game. You could have freaking picked off the pass. And it was a great play, but you should have caught it. The quarterback, that's the only mistake throw that I saw Chambliss that was a horrible mistake all night.
He makes that pick, man. He's legend.
He's legend. So it was just coverages. And like I said, the linebacking play was bad. CJ Allen was bad. They weren't making tackles. Just coverages and linebacker play was bad across the board. And we hadn't seen it in the second half of the season.
Nope. And number 3, the coaching, the play calling. It was off.
It was off. And we don't know if it was just Gunner making those calls, but a lot of the runs, the called runs, but mostly in particular with coaching, like it just seemed like you had a situation where you've got a team without their head coach. They've got their defensive coordinator calling plays. Guys are back and forth. A lot of their coaches are going to leave and go to LSU, and they're probably doing two jobs. You shouldn't be in a position where the other team is making plays that make you look silly. And that's what
Yeah.
happened.
When the disorganized team looks more organized.
Right. And
yeah, and and there were so many wild plays, like when they gave it to McCray and he tries to bump it outside twice.
They called that play twice to McCray. Like
It's
you've
like he
always
can't
said,
make that play.
he's slow as can be. And the coaching decisions overall with some of the players, like talking about Walker. If Walker, why wasn't Walker playing? Unless he's hurt, he wasn't on the injury report. Why wasn't he out there? Phillips, if you needed somebody to run it outside, where the hell's Phillips? Or Roderick Robinson? He scored a touchdown in the SEC championship game. And good luck to him in the transfer portal, but he's still on the team. Like, he's faster than McCray. Like, you had guys to use. If Bowens is that banged up that you can't use him, then why were you using him in the fourth quarter on the goal line? Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand the coaching. I don't understand putting your team in that bad position where after you'd had the successful fake punt, you run that play out there with the freshman, give him the chance to make the mistake. I just don't get some of the coaching decisions. I know everybody's harping on Bobo after this game, but I don't know, man. I don't know if Bobo's the one to blame here. To me, it feels more like the defensive staff is to blame here.
I agree. It's the defensive staff, because the defense first half was playing good enough, holding them, and then just fell apart in the second half.
Yeah.
The offense still put up 35 points or 34 points.
Yep. Well,
I mean,
27, the fumble
you're right. Still, 27 points. That's not bad. I mean, that's a pretty good day at the office.
Yeah.
For if you're playing in a playoff game.
Yep.
It's not supposed to be high scoring like it ended up being. And you still had a chance to win at the end of the game. And this is, I guess, another area where...
Well, let's go into that. So number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the most egregious coaching decision of the entire game. And that's the decision to not run it 2 more times at the goal line. You run it on first down with Stockton. He gets you to the 3-yard line. Okay. And then on second down, you run a stretch handoff to Chauncey Bowens that goes backwards. Okay. So now Ole Miss is out of timeouts. So on third down, now you're backed up to the 6, which you screwed yourself by running Bowens. Because why? Why didn't you just Gunner look great and running on the first one? Why didn't you just have Gunner run it again? I would have never.
Or this is when you use McCray.
Right. But instead you go backwards with Bowens. So then you decide to throw the ball. And Kirby said, oh, well, we had confidence. Whatever, that's stupid. You should have taken a chance and ran the football. If you get tackled, then you kick the field goal with 10 seconds left, and Ole Miss has no time on the clock. That
and you get overtime.
And you get to overtime. But instead, you pass the ball and you don't complete it, and you leave 50 seconds or whatever it was on the clock. Dumb, stupid. We talked about it when Georgia made the stupid call not to take the points against Alabama, that was a horrible coaching decision. This one was worse. This is the worst individual calling of plays that I have seen Kirby make at Georgia. This was awful, and it cost you a game.
It did. All that to be said, if Gunner throws it to Branch over the middle,
true,
it's a win.
It's a win, but it doesn't matter, because that's just what it is. So
yeah, I mean, you got to think strategy, right? Like,
right.
Yeah, I get it. You got a chance to win the game and move on,
right?
But if you don't get it, you are in a very bad position.
Yep.
Because not only do you have to kick the field goal and make it, which is pretty certain for Georgia, but it's still an opportunity that yeah, it could be blocked.
Right.
You could
Right.
just Gunner could drop the snap. It could be a back kick. Could miss it.
Yeah.
But then you give them time when your defense is playing like ass, and
You've got guys out in
you
the
have
secondary. You got, yeah.
and you got a kicker on the other side who's just drilling it as deep as
Yeah. You knew that their
he
kicker
wants to
only
go.
needed to get it to midfield. He was going to make it.
Exactly.
So, but that leads us to our last and the number one reason that Georgia lost this game. That's because Trinidad Chambliss played like a god.
Yeah, he did.
All these other things don't really matter. These are all reasons why Georgia problems. The reason Georgia lost this game was because of Trinidad Chambliss. That's it.
Yeah.
He played like a god.
He,
all the credit
he was
goes
a
to
dude.
him.
It really does. He deserves it. I mean, he played out of his mind. I mean, he killed it. He looked fantastic.
I can be a bitter Georgia fan all I want and give you reasons, and you can call them excuses, whatever. That's why Georgia lost the game, because they got outplayed. They just got outplayed by a guy having an absolute he's on fire moment that the announcers even called.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of times these games come down to the quarterback play.
They do.
And Chambliss
when you have these higher scoring
Gunner.
games, it's who makes the last play, right? I mean, Stetson made the last play against Ohio State, and Stroud tried to, and they missed the field goal. And in this case, they made the field goal. So
maybe that's what Kirby was going for.
Yeah. So
another wide left.
Yep. So that's it. That's the 10 reasons I think Georgia lost. As we said, Ole Miss wins their first playoff game, and they're moving on to the Fiesta Bowl to take on Miami, just like everybody thought it at the beginning of the season and the beginning of these playoffs.
But yeah, congrats to them. I mean, if anything, we don't have to hear about the whole Carson Beck Georgia situation for the next week or so.
Oh, that would have been unbearable.
But I mean, I'm going to be keeping my eye on Ole Miss the rest of the season. I mean, that's a pretty good story, but they're going to have a tough time with that defense against the rest of these teams.
Yep.
All right. If you're watching with us live, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's the little red thing at the bottom right hand of your screen. I believe it says subscribe. You just click that. It's easy. Just go ahead and do it. And we're going to talk more college football right now. So, Alabama got absolutely destroyed by Indiana. I mean, we're talking real belt ass.
Yeah. So the very first drive of the game, Alabama sacked Fernando Mendoza twice on a series of 3 plays. They had 1 sack the rest of the game, and I can honestly say that is the only time in this entire game that Fernando Mendoza really felt any pressure. This was absolutely a destruction.
Yeah, it was a murder ball.
Yeah. Bama missed their chance. Like I said, they got those 2 sacks. They had a chance to get points early in the game. They didn't. And then right after that, Indiana gets the ball. They go 84 yards. They get a field goal. And that set the tone for the rest of the way.
Yeah. I mean, 38-3 in a playoff game. I mean, yeah, Georgia, TCU, whatever, national championship. But this is Alabama we're talking about.
Right.
This ain't TCU. This ain't some upstart sneaking into the playoffs. This is freaking Bama.
This is Alabama who played in the SEC championship game, who beat Georgia at home this year. This is not right. This is not anything,
And Indiana just comes in, takes them out back to the woodshed, beats the hell out of them, and says, "Thank you, I'm going."
Bama's decision to go for it on 4th down at their own 35.
Oh man,
they've lived and died by going for it on 4th down. The last couple weeks, they did in Auburn. They got the touchdown. They did against Georgia. They paid off. This was stupid.
It only worked against Auburn.
Well, it worked against Georgia too on that 4th down too. But what was Bernard doing? Just go forward and you have the first down. Like don't go sideways. But I mean that was it. Like that was the last time that they missed that first down and they were done.
Oh yeah, it was over. It was over. Hell, it was over when they first walked on the field.
Yeah.
Is you know Ty Simpson, he came into the game banged up already, and then he took a freaking shot
Yeah. They said
on a scramble
he
and
broke
broke a
bones.
rib.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
um, I mean, I
but their
think,
backup quarterback came right in, and he looked really good.
yeah. So, the going into this game, the one question was Bama hadn't been able to run the ball all year long, and this game was no different. The running games really tell you the how much this game was. Bama had 23 yards rushing. Indiana just pushed Bama around. Indiana ran for 215 yards on the ground. They had two running
Wow,
backs. They had two running backs who almost go over 100. Keelan Black went for 99 yards, and Roman Hemby went for 89 yards. The Bama
I miss
defensive
those days.
line, yeah, the Bama defensive line was just they were pushed around. They couldn't tackle for crap. And what that allowed Indiana's offense to do was that they didn't really have to throw the ball a lot. Mendoza only threw it 16 times, but he completed 14 passes for 3 touchdowns in the second half. In the second half, when they were just putting Alabama away, they only had to throw three passes in the whole second half. Well, 2 of them were touchdown passes.
Wow.
Like, it was
Yeah, that's a
it was just total destruction.
that's domination. And so what's interesting is, after this game, there's been some interviews with Signetti, and one of the things he was talking about was that, he doesn't like to waste time. And so he doesn't practice his players as much as other people. He's not coming in the office at 4 a.m. Never understood why people did that. It's like the opposite of Kirby.
Yeah.
Like, when I think about it, Georgia has Bloody Tuesday. They're out there and about being physical. And then you look at Indiana after hearing this. Indiana was way more physical than
A
Bama.
and Indiana did this without their best edge rusher, who's out for the year now, too. Like, they lost their best edge rusher, the guy who led the Big Ten in tackles for loss, and they did this. It was
Yeah,
impressive, and they made Bama quit. You thought
yeah, they
Bama
did.
looked bad in that second half against Florida State? They looked rosy compared to that. At the end of this game, none of those guys wanted to be there. They were just done. It was just not something you would have seen under Saban. So my question is, coming out of this game, we know Indiana's awesome. They're probably the favorite to win it all. That's great.
Absolutely.
But one question for you: Is DeBoer on the hot seat next year?
Yeah, absolutely. He was already on a warm seat this year.
It's crazy. And you know what? I bet he wishes that Michigan job was still open.
I bet he does. But at the same time, I mean, he is the head coach at Alabama.
True.
And who knows? He could come in next year and beat the crap out of everybody. Who knows? I mean, college football is such a crapshoot now.
I mean, Alabama has had a
I
run
mean,
of guys go in the portal yesterday and today. It's crazy. There's 4,500 players in the portal. What the heck are we doing? Anyway,
what's that? That's like 35% of all players,
it's
I
it's
think, is what I saw today.
it's absolutely nuts. It's a broken
Yeah.
system. But that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think DeBoer's going to be on the hot seat. I mean, just listen to Feinbaum on the Monday after. It's classic. It's people going off. All right, you want to talk about the Orange Bowl?
Yeah, man.
Or no,
Uh,
not the Orange Bowl, the Cotton Bowl.
Cotton Bowl on Friday night. Miami 24, Ohio State 14. And, coming into this game, and one thing I pointed out when we previewed this last week was that in Ohio State's 3 games against ranked opponents, their offense hadn't exactly lit it up in those games. We didn't really know all the talent they had. We didn't really know how good Ohio State's offense was because their schedule was such crap. We knew their defense was fantastic. But in this game, outside of Jeremiah Smith, who we know he's good,
Yeah.
their offense just did not play well.
No, it didn't. And credit to Miami. I mean, a lot of that is that Miami defense is really freaking good.
They were relentless. The D line and the
Yeah.
pass rush.
They did not have a problem with the pass rush.
No. And credit Keontae Scott for reading that and making that interception that was returned.
Oh
I
my gosh, that was like the greatest play I've ever seen.
So there was something they put something up online that in high school, Keontae Scott had picked off Julian Sayan's brother in a game in high school.
No way.
And then he picked him off in that game. And speaking of Julius Sayan, we came in talking about his completion percentage record. Well, he doesn't have that anymore either. He fell
No, no.
behind. Bo Nix is back to being your NCAA record holder for completion percentage in the year. So
Yeah, I think Julian Sayan's numbers against currently ranked teams were really bad.
yeah. So like you said though, the real stars of this game were the Miami defenders, Ruben Bain and Akeem
Short
Mesidor.
arms and all.
Bain and Mesidor were everywhere on this game, man. Just making plays. They held Ohio State to 45 yards on the ground. This game, really watching it, felt a lot like the Ohio State-Texas game early in the year, just the roles were flipped. Because Texas, in that game when Texas played Ohio State, Texas had way more yards than Ohio State did. They just didn't score.
Mm.
It's kind of what happened here. Ohio State had a lot more yards in this game than Miami did. Miami didn't have great yardage. I think they had under 300 yards. But the defense was so good and stepped up when it needed to that it didn't matter.
Yeah, and shout out to Aaron Murray. He called this.
He did.
And he caught a lot of crap for picking Miami to make it this far.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to give some credit to Carson Beck. Once again, he wasn't really asked to throw the ball down the field. But I will say that when they needed him to make some clutch plays, he came through. So there was that one run on a third down where he ran the ball and lowered his shoulder and took a shot and got the first down. And then there was later, I think it was in the fourth quarter, they had a third down and they ran a little out pattern to the side. And that was a hell of a throw from Carson Beck to get the first down. So when they needed him, he made two really, really good plays. And, Mark Fletcher Jr. continued to play well, running the ball hard.
Man, that dude is awesome.
Yeah.
What a great running back.
Yeah. So, once again, the Ohio State defense in this game, they were good. They held Miami to under 300 yards. They only let 17 points up, because the other 7 was on the pick six. But it just goes to show you that it is so hard in this world of this playoff. It was hard in the 4-team playoff because only one team
in BCS.
Only one team ever went back to back in the 4-team playoff, and that was Georgia. Here in this 12-team or whatever it becomes, 16-team, it's going to be really hard to go back to back. No matter when you have this record-setting defense and you're number one all year, you get to the playoffs and with so many rounds and so many players and all the distractions, it's just so hard to go back to back.
Yeah, especially with the college football calendar the way it is set up. Honestly, that's the biggest thing that probably messes with everybody.
Right.
Is you got all kinds of crap going on as soon as the season ends. You got signing day, and then you got transfer portal people, and then you're trying to prepare for your game, and then you got a layoff, and it makes no sense.
Yeah. So as for Miami, defense looks strong. Now they've got a game against an Ole Miss team coming off a hot offensive performance. So we'll see what happens. We'll see who wins out. If it's the defense and the shaky at times quarterback who threw 3 picks the last time he faced Ole Miss, or if it's going to be the hot hand.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them because Miami's going to going to get to that backfield.
Yep.
That's for sure. All right. And then now we can talk about the Orange Bowl. Oregon just came out and just beat the ever living crap out of Texas Tech. Texas Tech looked like they had just gotten off the plane and were super jet lag.
Yeah. I mean, it's, Texas Tech kind of did this to BYU twice this year, where they just bludgeoned them on the line and just absolutely beat them to submission. And that's kind of what Oregon did here. Now, the Texas Tech defense did its part. Oregon, one of the highest powered offenses of the country, only had 309 yards in this game. But they got outplayed by the Oregon defense, who only allowed them 215 yards. And the big key was forcing four turnovers.
Yeah. I mean, Oregon played a complete game. I mean, getting a shutout, that's a pretty big deal in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially to get a shutout in a playoff game against Texas Tech, who had arguably the best offense or second best offense in the playoffs.
And it was only 6-0 at half when it really could have been more because Oregon made some questionable calls.
Oh my gosh. Oregon made some dumb freaking calls. I mean, they should have been beating them by I think at least 17-0.
Yeah.
Something like that. It was ridiculous.
So the game,
it was just going for it on every fourth down.
Yeah. I mean, the game finally broke there in the second half. Baron Morton got sacked, got picked up. Oregon got their first touchdown. They threw a pick later, but Texas Tech gave it right back. Freshman defensive back Brandon Finney had an amazing game here, 2 picks and a fumble recovery. The Oregon offense, like I said, wasn't brilliant. Dante Moore 3 for 234. Jordan Davison had 2 touchdown runs, but the real story was that Oregon defense holding Texas Tech, like you said, came in number 2 in the country in scoring and with 425 yards per game, and they just did nothing. Just nothing.
Yeah, they couldn't get anything going. I mean, the defense did play pretty well, though.
Yeah. I mean, the Texas Tech defense, this is bittersweet for them. They were good all year. That combination of Jacob Rodriguez and Ben Roberts at linebacker, this guy's had 27 tackles in this game.
Yeah, so I think that was the big downfall for Texas Tech is they didn't have the depth. Yeah. They had the front line talent to hang with anybody.
Yeah.
But what separates teams like that with the teams that go on to win is that depth.
Yeah.
You got to have some level of depth where when it gets late and guys are tired, you're able to just cycle through some folks and keep going.
Yep. So, Oregon moves on. Another team that was, the lower rated team who played last week but had an easy cake game comes in and steamrolls a team that has had a layoff. So, we talked about it before. There's data that's mounting.
Absolutely. All right. If you're watching with us live, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you love college football, join us every week. We talk college football. That's all we do. Okay. College football semifinals. Let's start with Miami versus Ole Miss.
I think this is the more interesting of the 2 games. For Miami, Carson Beck, I mentioned this a few minutes ago. Carson Beck, the last time he faced Ole Miss, played arguably his worst game in a Georgia uniform. Threw 3 picks, looked totally uncomfortable and harassed.
Big difference, though. The Ole Miss defensive line
was not the same.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the Georgia offensive line that he was behind did not play well.
Right.
All.
It's a much different situation. It's just whether he has flashbacks. or not.
Yeah, he sees that blue and red is like, oh god.
Yeah. I mean, I think the real story here for Miami has been their defense, and particularly over the last 6 games. Since they lost to SMU, they haven't allowed more than 17 points. They're averaging only 9 points a game. Their defense the whole year, the most they've given up is 24 all year long. And in those games, those last 6 games, they've won by an average score of 31-10. So they are playing really, really solidly on that defensive side of the ball. They're up to number 10 in the country, number 4 in scoring, number 5 rush defense.
Yeah, I think I think Ole Miss is going to have a tough time moving the ball against Miami. I think anybody is going to have a tough time moving the ball against Miami. I mean, we've seen that past few weeks. It's been kind of their thing all year.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a great pass rush, and we know from experience with Georgia versus Ole Miss that you got to have a pass rush to get Chambliss off his spot. But when you do that, you got to have somebody who can close, and they have two amazing closers,
They do.
and that's going to be the big difference in this game because Miami's offense, it's a good offense. It's nothing great or spectacular, but it's a good offense.
Yeah.
They got a good offensive line. They got a really good running game, and Carson Beck is not terrible.
No, no, by no means. You know,
And they
like
have
you
the X factor of Malachi Tony
right. So
and
Ole
Ethan Daniels.
Yeah, so Ole Miss themselves, they have done a good job of protecting their quarterback. I mean, obviously, they didn't give up any sacks in the 2 Georgia games. They've only given up 18 sacks on the year. So that's not insane numbers, but that's still pretty good. That's less than 2 a game.
Yeah, but
Um,
I think a lot of that is Chambliss, just his scrambling ability.
and it might be. It absolutely could be.
It was in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but that being said, the Ole Miss offense is so strong. I mean, after this Georgia performance, 360 yards passing and over 100 yards rushing. And they put up what 470, 480 on Georgia. So they're up to number 2 in the country in total offense, number 3 passing offense, number 37 rushing offense, and number 10 scoring. So Ole Miss scores, and they can do it to you on passing, and they can run the ball too. So once again, the question is, does the Ole Miss defense step up like it did against Georgia? Because I think all year they've kind of been labeled as a bad defense. They're not a bad defense at all. They're the number
Mm,
29 scoring defense in the country. They're not great in
mm.
comparison to some of the others, but they certainly stepped up in the Georgia game.
Yeah, they did in the second half.
Yeah. So, like you said, Ole Miss took advantage of Gabe Harris being out. Georgia couldn't close. They're not going to be able to do that with Mesidor and Bain. They just won't. And Ole Miss, while Miami is the one team that loves to hold on to the football, they're number 6 in the country in time of possession. Ole Miss is the exact opposite. They're number 85 in the country in time of possession. If Miami gets Ole Miss off the field, Ole Miss might be in trouble because Miami's going to hold that football as long as they can.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is going to have a hard time stopping that Miami running game. I mean, Mark Fletcher has been fantastic all year and even better in the last few games. Um, Looking to go over 1,000 yards for the season. That'd be nice to have at Georgia.
Yeah. There's 2
But
Georgia running backs that did it in the NFL this year.
that's true. But I do think the story is going to be Miami's defense against Ole Miss offense.
Yeah. And who can force a turnover, really?
Yeah, my money's on the Miami defense.
Yeah. So, what do you think's going to happen, bro? What's your prediction?
Let's see. So 3 point spread. That seems tight to me. But I don't know. Miami's been playing teams pretty close for the most part. Um, Ole Miss will score. They're going to get some points. Miami's going to be able to score on Ole Miss because everybody scores on Ole Miss. And, um, I think it's going to be Miami 24, Ole Miss 17.
Okay. So I think it once again it is a hot defense versus a hot offense. I think it's going to be a little bit higher scoring, actually. Um, we've seen that time and time again. I think Miami can match it, and I think if they get Ole Miss into some turnovers, they might get a couple extra scores. So I'm going higher scoring. I'm going to go Miami 35, Ole Miss 30.
I like it. I like it. All right. Next, we have the Peach Bowl, where
We got another rematch.
there we go. Another rematch. Okay. This is my biggest pet peeve of the playoffs this year. So many rematches.
Yep. This is what this
So
is
many
the
rematches. It's like
this is
fourth
the
or fifth.
this is the fourth, right? Because we had
Fourth,
Georgia
yeah.
Ole Miss, we had Alabama Oklahoma, we had Tulane Ole Miss. So yep.
Enough with the rematches.
Right. Because you know what? One little rant here. The committee really screwed Georgia over a lot by not putting Georgia at 2 and Ohio State at 3. They made Georgia have to travel to the Sugar Bowl, which is closer to Ole Miss, for their bowl game. And then they had them set up to play a team that they'd already played. And then because Georgia was at 3 instead of 2, it's stupid. They should have tried to avoid having these rematches and all this stuff, and they set up teams at disadvantages. It's just dumb. Anyway, sorry, I
I
got
concur.
lost.
But we do get to see Oregon take on Indiana on a neutral site this time. So presumably Oregon should lose by more
Yeah,
because it was at home last time.
right.
Although
Indiana,
Oregon's playing really good.
yeah. So it was 30-20 the first time, but really it wasn't even that close because Mendoza threw a pick six.
Yeah.
Like Fernando Mendoza ain't going to throw a pick six again. I don't think he just doesn't do it. He hasn't all year long. He's got like 30 something touchdowns and 6 interceptions all year. So don't count on that. This game was not really that close. It was a close score, but it felt like it was one of those ones that Indiana was in control of. And watching them dominate the line of scrimmage against Alabama, man, it's going to be hard for Oregon to slow down Indiana's offense. They were able to do
Yeah.
it to Texas Tech. I don't think they'll be able to do it to Indiana.
Trying to find the line on this one.
It was 4. But here's something else to consider. That despite Oregon winning 23-0 in their game, they couldn't run the football against Texas Tech. They ran for 1.4 yards a carry in that game. If they can't run the football at all again, once again, Indiana's going to blitz them because Alabama couldn't run the football at all, and Indiana blitzed them.
Indiana looks like a freight train right now. I mean, the offense is absolutely humming.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Oregon's got a pretty good defense, but it's hard to see anybody stopping Indiana's offense right now. And on top of that, Indiana's defense is playing amazing football too. I mean, they took it to Ohio State, they took it to Alabama. I think they will have a tougher time on defense this time with Oregon. You know, obviously it's they get to get the rematch piece of it. But Dante Moore is playing great.
Yeah.
And the offense is looking pretty good. I think the big key is going to be, will Dan Lanning pull a who's the guy who got fired from James Franklin. Is Dan Lanning going to pull a James Franklin and make stupid decisions and lose the game?
Right, right. So, like you said, Indiana's just playing lights out right now. They have continuously outplayed teams that had more talent than them. I said it last week in the preview of the Alabama game that it was a team of good players playing great versus a team of great players playing good. I think Oregon's playing better than Alabama, so I don't think this will be some type of absolute blowout. But Oregon is a talented football team. They have talent on that team that's probably better than the talent overall that's on Indiana's side. If both defenses show up like they did last week, at the end of the day, am I more comfortable with Fernando Mendoza making plays or Dante Moore? Evidence proves it out. I'm taking Mendoza here. I think Indiana wins the game. Give me Indiana 33, Oregon 24.
I like it. I like it. I'm also going to take Indiana. I mean, like I was saying, their offense is pretty unstoppable right now, and their defense is stopping everybody. I I think they're going to cover pretty easily here. So I think it's going to be Indiana 38 and Oregon, yeah, probably like 20-24. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we are predicting an Indiana versus Miami final.
Yes, we are. I believe that I think that's going to be a pretty good game. And
Where
it makes all the sense. I mean, Miami's probably playing the best ball
right.
outside of Indiana.
It'll be interesting to see, if Miami wins, they get to play a national championship game in their home stadium.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Has that ever happened? I don't think so. I mean, Georgia played in Atlanta, but
Yeah,
not that many
but
teams
that's not their
play
home stadium.
not that many teams
Yeah,
play in NFL stadiums, so it'd be interesting.
yeah.
It'd be
I
like
mean,
Ace
you see
Ventura:
that
Pet Detective, Miami, the Miami Dolphins playing in the Super Bowl at home.
did
The
UCLA ever play for the national title in the Rose Bowl?
I don't know. The Rams were the first team to win a Super Bowl in their home stadium a few years ago, Stafford. So,
Nice. All right. Any final thoughts?
yeah, I mean, I'm sad Georgia lost. Was a good season. This was a much better season than last year. My final thoughts on Georgia. We'll do some wrap up, some postmortem later, but this was a better year than last year. It sucks it ended this way. A lot of things had to happen for Georgia to lose, but I'm proud of the team. They were the youngest team in the SEC, so we'll get a lot of guys back for next year. For the playoffs themselves, Indiana looks like a wrecking ball, man. It's so weird to say that. Um, they're continuing to build momentum for next year. They had a huge day in the portal today, picked up like 5 highly rated players at 5 different positions today. Uh, it's a train on a track, and they're just rolling downhill. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm obviously sad that Georgia is done for the year, but this was one of the most fun seasons as a fan. Outside of winning national titles. Been watching Georgia play football for over 40 years now, and this was such a fun season. I mean, we had some really big moments where the Tennessee game, Gunner makes that fourth down throw. It's awesome. The Ole Miss game was just crazy, and Texas game, Gunner played out of his mind. I mean, there are just so many clutch moments that we saw from a team that was 50, 40, 46, 50 something percent underclassmen,
right,
mostly freshmen,
55, yeah.
55. Yeah. So, it was a lot of fun watching the team grow up throughout the season because you did see a huge difference from how the team looked at the beginning of the season to how they looked at the end through the SEC championship. Sugar Bowl's a different story. But most the thing you got to remember as a Georgia fan is most seasons are going to end like this.
Yep. They ended that way for
The
40
odds
for
are
40 years.
the odds are not in your favor to win the national title. But the fact that Georgia was able to win the SEC again, which is amazing. I mean, that is a feat in itself with the team that we had is incredible. So by all rights, this was a fantastic season for the Georgia Bulldogs and the Georgia Bulldog program.
Yep.
And all they're going to keep doing is keep building, keep the momentum going. They're already making noise in the portal. You got the huge safety from Clemson, so that defensive backfield is going to look really good next year. So lot of good stuff to look forward to, and you know we're only guaranteed 12 Saturdays a year. So whenever
Enjoy
you
them.
get any extras, you better enjoy it.
Yep. All right. Well, once again, thanks everybody out there for joining us. Uh, Subscribe to the show if you haven't already. And we'll be back next week to wrap up the semifinals and talk national title. But until then, I'm Street.
I'm Burl.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.